So I'd like to let everybody know that while me and Ben may have the knowledge on this subject, we're hardly mature enough to have the conversation that we're about to have.
We don't have mature conversations. But on the flip side, I'm doing this new form of fasting now.
Yes.
Which you've helped me out with, Aubrey, tremendously. I mean, I walked in here and Aubrey just right away gave me a lot of the little hacks that I need for this fasting. It's called reverse intermittent fasting.
Yep.
And and what we did reverse intermittent fasting with just now was we've got walnuts, biltong jerky, biltong, regular jerky, with like peely nuts or something over there.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea behind
multiple
this,
nuts, multiple meats.
Well, it's a game changer. We don't want to spill the beans on it because we'll probably do a PDF on this eventually,
Yep.
or a newsletter. Or like an On an Academy article or whatever.
Well, but you know where I got it from? I got it from like going to the movies, right? Where you eat constantly.
Right.
And just knowing how good you feel.
Have you ever seen someone sad at a movie?
No.
I haven't.
Never.
Like most people have a pretty good time at movies, and most of them, I'm pretty sure, live a long time.
For sure. Pretty much the best thing metabolically is clearly to eat all the time and watch movies.
Yeah, so the way this works, take notes, is you, step one, eat all the time. All right, what are we going to talk about next?
Well, what we're going to talk about next is dicks.
Dicks, baby.
And sex.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never talked about that on this Aubrey Marcus podcast. So probably actually every time.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe every podcast that comes up at some point. But now we're going to like focus on it. It's going to be not the thing we talk around, but it's going to be the main topic. Because I've affectionately dubbed the Cock Warlock.
The Cock Warlock. That was the moniker that I adopted in Hawaii. I don't remember how it happened. I think it was
you were explaining.
It was halfway through about 8 bowls of kava, so neither of us were lucid.
You were explaining to us all of these ways that you can hack genital performance, and not to be biased, it worked for all forms of genitals because one of the ways that you were talking.
Wait, how many forms of genitals are there? There's just
3.
Just 2 to 3.
I mean, there's like a either or
there's
both.
There's some that are like half grown, half
right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and then there's variations like there's the muscle clit, which can develop from overuse of testosterone.
Exactly. And then
then there's the inverted dick that somebody else could fuck when you get too fat.
The tuck job. the katoy. That's another one.
Have you ever encountered? I encountered that in like health clubs before, in like Russian baths.
The katoys?
Is that a katoy?
Where it's like full on invagination surgery, like an actual
your dick is inside,
Bangkok job
inside your fat area that has engulfed your dick.
Well, you know that the number one
little
face,
balls in a hole.
The number one place on the face of the planet to have that done. I always thought it was Bangkok. Like that's where you go for like sex tourism and sex change operations. It's not. It's
Germany.
Actually no. It's Colorado. I went hunting in Colorado, and it was outside. The name of the town was, I think it was Salinas. It was like a ranch hunt for elk.
Yeah.
And the dude that owns this, he's like a surgeon in Colorado, and people come from all over the world to get sex changes done from this surgeon in Colorado. I wish I could. If we had known we were going to be talking about this.
You think now with legal weed, like it would make people change their mind. They'd be like going in for a sex change, and they'd get really high and be like, man, what am I doing with my life?
I don't want to get operated on by a surgeon with the munchies.
I don't want people to cut my nuts.
But anyway, so there's two primary forms of genitalia.
Yeah, and a lot of these procedures work for both. Because what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about testosterone optimization, nitric oxide optimization, and then the shockwave therapy that I just went through with Whitney in Miami, which is crazy. The Juve light, baking your balls in the red lights, which I have dropped on the podcast. Yeah. So we're going to talk about all that stuff.
Yeah.
Let's get
I'm double dipping on the Juve light, by the way.
Double dipping? Yeah. What do you mean? You going one behind you?
I guess we're going to start there. So the Juve light, the way that this works is that what they've studied and found with specific wavelengths of light, technically in the range of about 600 to 700 nanometers of light, is that you get an increase in testosterone via an activation of the cells and the Leydig cells of the testes. So when you look at something Well, I mean, Alzheimer's. That's the first thing that you think of when you think about sex is Alzheimer's, especially enhancing testosterone.
Yeah,
I mean, I just
100%.
think about it.
That's where I was going.
Like a sexy old person with Alzheimer's. And sorry, all the
Alzheimer's
listeners.
Former disclaimer.
Yes.
Immediately.
Yeah.
That we're hardly mature enough to have this conversation.
But anyway, so there's this device that operates on the concept of what's called photobiomodulation. It's made by this company called Vielight, VIE Light. And NPR did this story a couple of months ago on the idea that a gamma frequency of it's not radiation, it's more like a gamma frequency of light at about 40 hertz can actually break up plaque in the brain and reverse dementia and reverse Alzheimer's. Well, the company that's come out with the device, it's like a full-on head device, and you may have seen me wearing this before. It's like a nasal probe and a full head device. Yeah, it's like a God helmet. It's called a Gamma, made by this company called Vielight. And I mean, they've been sold out since that podcast came out. People are, anybody who wants to control Alzheimer's, they're now using this device for therapy. And they have another unit it's an alpha. It's called a Vielight Alpha, and it produces light at a 10 hertz frequency. And this would be, as the name implies, to like increase alpha brainwave production, increased focus, lucidity, whatever. So the way that thing operates is when you put it on, or when you put the probe in your nose, there's a part of your mitochondria called cytochrome C oxidase. It's part of the electron transport chain. Anytime that you amp up activity in cytochrome C oxidase, you actually amp up your mitochondrial activity. And in any tissue, in this case, in neural tissue, you're amplifying your neural activity.
This is a long way to get to dicks. But,
I know.
All right,
I know.
Carry
but
on.
the probe is useful information. There are other places you can put probes. Closer to, I've never done that with this one. It's a nasal only. If you come to my house, only put it in your nose.
No, please. If you go to Ben's house, put it everywhere. Don't tell him.
Oh, we can tell stories like maybe we can get to the THC enema story later, but the idea is that your Leydig cells also have cytochrome C oxidase. They also have mitochondria. So if you can stimulate mitochondrial activity in your Leydig cells the same way that you would stimulate mitochondrial activity in your brain for enhanced neural activation, you can do the same thing in the testes. So the idea is a wavelength of about 600 to 700 nanometers that you expose your balls to actually increases the activity of those cells, which means two things: increased testosterone and increased sperm production.
And if you're like many of us who think with your dick, then you can accomplish both at the same time.
That's something I hadn't thought of before.
Genius, right?
But yes. So if you suffer from dick dementia, keep listening.
Well, like Kevin Gates' song, "Thinking of My Dick."
Right, exactly. I mean, so there's this thing called a Joovv, JOOVV. And these cats sent this to me, like to try out, and they're like, "Oh, it's great for whatever detoxification of the skin." This shit that's it's interesting, but I have like an infrared sauna at home, and I do the whole detox thing anyways. But I was talking to this physician in Finland. I was at this biohacking summit in Finland, and this dude, his name's Ollie. All he specializes in are all these different ways to like biohack testosterone. And he starts sending me all these studies on primarily rodent models and what they've done to increase sperm production and testosterone.
Well, there's one,
and there was a study in men too.
There's one study that was from a long time ago, I think 1939 or something like that, where direct exposure to sunlight to the genitals increased testosterone.
That was 1942 or 43.
Okay.
Yeah, that study, UVA and UVB exposure, which is also a good reason.
Which includes this frequency of
that includes that frequency of light. Yeah, exactly. So you don't have to go buy a fancy light, but like what I do is when I'm working at my office, I have one of these Joovv lights. So the Joovv light produces light in that spectrum, that 600, 700 nanometer spectrum, and it's like a far infrared. And the reason I'm double dipping now, like I mentioned, is they have this new one that's like far infrared and near infrared, both at the same time. So all I do is I pull down my pants when I'm at my desk, and I got the light panel like sitting like right. It's supposed to hang from a door, but I have one of those standing desks, so I lean it up against my desk, and I just basically work, and it's 5 to 20 minutes a day. Yeah, that's all it takes, and you just expose your balls to this stuff. 5 to 10.
I'm only going up to 10.
You can go.
Now
you can go 20.
Let me know on the real shit, which is you get 20 minutes of red
This
light.
news just in 20 minutes. So here's also the deal with this, and this is actually interesting. That thing for your head that I mentioned, and there's one for the wrist too called the Quantlet. Same thing, photobiomodulation for the wrist, which basically, as blood passes through down to your fingers, it will basically do the same thing for all the red blood cells passing through your bloodstream. You're only supposed to use that once every day to once every 2 days. Same thing with this gamma or this alpha, and same thing with the Joovv light in terms of the amount of exposure.
Yeah.
So I don't use it for like copious amounts of time. And the reason for that is when you elevate mitochondrial activity, you increase the production of reactive oxygen species. That's the byproduct of exercising a lot or eating a lot or breathing a lot or any of these other methods.
So it's its own form
too much of a good thing.
Stressor. Yeah.
Right. So you want that hormetic stress. But if you were to stand in front of this thing for like an hour and just like fry your stress, you'd still get the testosterone and everything, but you'd also create a lot of ROSs.
Sure.
And so you could probably take a bunch of antioxidants after or have your glass of wine and dark chocolate, because afterwards is a really good time to have sex. I mean, you get increased vasodilation, warmth, like it works well for that.
Now,
too.
does that, before I get into the personal testimonials on my red light ball making, is there any impact on nitric oxide production with the red light spectrum?
Yep. So same thing with the head. Anytime you increase mitochondrial activity, one of the byproducts of that is nitric oxide.
Yep.
Because you have to increase blood flow and capillarization to tissue. So with something like
so nitric oxide, break down nitric oxide for people who don't understand.
Yeah, it's a gas. It's a molecule, and I wrote a big paper on it when I was doing my master's degree at University of Idaho. This is what I basically, for my entire biochemistry class, this is what I chose to focus in on, was nitric oxide. And it's this amazing molecule. I mean, it vasodilates tissue. You look at like sildenafil, the active component in Viagra, that's what it does, is it causes a localized nitric oxide increase in blood vessel size and increase in actual blood delivery.
I was reading that
to any tissue.
What it does is it accelerates kind of like the effect of nitric oxide.
Well,
instigate it,
technically,
but it
sildenafil increases the half-life of nitric oxide.
Right.
So, and I actually haven't tried this. You get me thinking now, because what you could do is you could use the Juvelite and you could use sildenafil or Viagra, and you would actually be producing a bunch of nitric oxide, but then the Viagra would keep that from getting broken down as quickly. We have to try this.
Double
We have to try this. Do you have a Juvelite here? Because I have some Viagra. Just do this right away.
So basically nitric oxide is what triggers the opening of the capillaries and the opening of the blood vessels.
Right,
They
exactly.
go hand in
exactly. Same as beetroot is going to cause nitric oxide release.
There's dietary ways to do it. So let's
arugula,
talk about all the ways.
pumpkin seeds, beetroot, watermelon. You'll have bodybuilders eating watermelon to get a pump before a workout or before they go on stage. When I was bodybuilding, I used to do red wine and dark chocolate backstage for the nitric oxide release. There's this.
And the more blood flow, by increasing the available blood flow, then more blood's going to flow into your muscles. So you're going to get more
blood, more pump.
blood flow into your dick, more blood flow into your clit, more
for
blood
men
flow into your
or
nipples.
women.
Wherever the hell blood flows, it's going to flow more. So the ways to get it, you got dietary ways, like you said, all of those foods: arugula, watermelon, dark chocolate,
and
red
nitric
wine.
oxide. It will. I mean, if you do it for like that head set I talked about, you get a localized nitric oxide increase in your neural tissue, but that crosses through the blood-brain barrier, and you get nitric oxide to the rest of your body as well. Same for the wrist thing, same for the Juvelite. So anywhere you wind up putting nitric oxide, it spreads. That's why cyclists will use Viagra.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like they're cycling with their dick, but they actually get that increased blood flow, and it's like an ergogenic aid.
Yeah, and so sunlight's another way to get it, because again, it contains these light spectrums. And there's actually a study comparing people who watched a scary movie to a funny movie and having nitric oxide production.
Right.
I was researching where if you're watching a horror film, you get constriction and a decrease in nitric oxide, whereas like your classic rom-com where you're feeling squishy and funny and it's having a laugh.
Exactly.
More
and I think
so the brain connection is there as well.
I think you and I were talking a little bit about this via email, but there's like this I think that study has been like bastardized a little bit, and now there's some people being like, oh, positive emotions cause a release of nitric oxide. I'm not quite sure that but I do know that study you're talking about where if you watch a funny movie, you do see it. I don't know if it's the laughing or the smile, like the gut laughter or something causing it. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's
also
a super interesting
to
molecule.
A scary movie, so it could be more of a constriction on the scary side.
It could be. It could be.
But interesting to look into that, because there's so many different factors. And you think about, like, for men, you think about erections. I mean, this is a lot of times your mentality that's affecting this.
Yep.
To a large degree. Sometimes it's physicality, but a lot of times it's mentality.
Yeah.
And part of that is that the mentality triggers the physicality. This, separation between mind and body is really being collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
Where we're really understanding how much the brain has to control, even with functions like gas availability, like nitric oxide.
Right, exactly. That's why you don't see vegetables having sex. That's
yes.
first here.
All right, so we got nitric oxide, we got the Juve light, and so let me just say, I've tried a lot of different things, and some of them have stuck. One of the things that have stuck was the human charger, the light buds that I put in my ear.
I was using that this morning.
Yeah, that's legit. Especially on a cloudy morning where I can't get actual sunlight. Putting those in my ear.
Have you tried the glasses though yet?
No.
They're super dorky, but I wear them. So I write every morning. I wake up and I write 20 minutes of fiction. Right, that's how I kind of like get the creative wheels turning for the day.
Yeah.
And I wear these glasses, and they're called retimers, and they produce just a shit ton of light from the greenish blue part of the light wave spectrum. And what that means is it's easier on your eyes than these blue light boxes that they'll like put on the desk for seasonal affective disorder or whatever. But you get just this blast of light. It's like 10,000 lumens of light, and it wakes you up. Or if you've been traveling, let's say it's whatever. I wake up at like 4 a.m. because I've been on the East Coast or whatever, and I don't freaking want to wake up at 4 a.m. So I'll just like put on these blue light blocking glasses that I think a lot of people are kind of getting overly obsessed with now. Having just been at the Paleo FX Expo and seen people with the full-on wraparound.
Ben Greenfield is making fun of people wearing glasses. That's when it's too far.
It's good birth control. It's built-in fidelity. But friggin' you don't got to wear those in the middle of the day just because you heard that biohacking was cool. And granted, like LED and fluorescent light has its issues, flicker on screens, whatever. But
there's a neurosis about it.
But if you wake up,
if you believe that light is going to poison you instantly, then there's a nocebo effect that's probably going to be a lot worse than what you're trying to protect.
Exactly. So you could retime your circadian rhythm.
Yeah.
And what you would do is you would wear the blue light blocking glasses until you really wanted to wake up. So let's say I want to start waking up at 6 a.m., not 4 a.m. And so you shut off all light until that point. Then you wear the glasses and you put the thing in your ears, and
then
it actually works really well. Yeah.
All right, so that makes sense. And light earbuds, and we have photoreceptors in our ear, and it actually goes all the way through to affect the pineal gland where the melatonin production is and everything like that.
Significant impact on circadian biology, especially when you consider the fact that opsin, the protein in your retina, that starts to be less responsive to light as you age. But that's not the same for the photoreceptors in your ears. So especially for old people, all those senior citizens who listen to your show who have shitty sleep, you can use these human chargers. Yeah.
Holla at me, senior
all those
citizens.
Golfers.
Yeah.
That's right. Palm Springs. Shout out.
So that one stuck, but then this Juve light too is one of those ones that's like, I tried it out, got the light, and it's fucking noticeable. Like it's a noticeable performance boost.
Did you get the big one yet?
I'm not talking
the Max.
It's like a giant domino.
Yeah.
It's like a 18-inch
Well, I mean,
domino.
the little one is big, but the big one is big.
The big one is
really
like 4
big.
feet, right?
It's huge. Yeah. It's like half the size of my door.
Yeah, it's like full body. Yeah. No, I haven't got that one yet, but I would consider it because it's like, it's not a, hey, maybe that worked. I'm like, maybe I felt better. And the same thing with the inner ear light. It's not like maybe I woke up better. It's for sure.
Yep.
And with this thing, it's not maybe, it's for sure. Like for sure, noticeable difference.
Yeah.
And not only that, I could use it other areas too. I just haven't yet, but it's valuable.
Well, you are getting it other areas. I mean, you're getting your legs and stuff, but yeah.
So that's a pretty cool biohack. So, whether you need it or not, you could be good. This can make you great. You could be great.
Yep.
This can make you a legend.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Or you could be struggling and this could fucking hook you up and save your life. And maybe, as you said, coupling this with Viagra, you may just be a machine of machines.
And if you're an inventor and you're listening in, make a really small one for your dick. I mean, seriously, because
like
you can't travel
tunnel,
with it, right?
Like I know the people at Fleshlight. We could make a Fleshlight one.
That'd be sick. All right, you heard it here. Aubrey and I are going to be quitting our jobs next year because we hit it big time with what are we going to call it? The Fleshlight?
It's already exists.
Oh, okay, so Fleshlight exists. Okay. Yeah. We'll figure out something.
But that would make even more sense.
The Mini Max.
Yeah. Something.
I don't know.
We'll figure it out. But yeah, man, fucking potent. But then there was the level up to that, and then we'll circle back to the most basic thing, which is testosterone.
The dick shocking.
Improvement. The dick shocking.
Dude.
So you convinced us to do this dick shocking. And by the way, this isn't just for dicks. For all the ladies listening, more blood flow to your lady parts is also going to make pleasure increase. Whitney's, we'll talk about this after the dick shocking. She doesn't do much of the light therapy. But, the more blood flow, the more pleasure, the more surface area, the more intensity of everything. From
I think Pleasure Increase was the name of a Thai massage parlor I went to once.
Pleasure Increase with an arrow.
Pleasure Increase. Come here. $5.
Like maximum pleasure? Minimum pleasure. So we go.
Pink slippers and a shitty torn up bathrobe that 10 guys have jacked off in. That one.
No black lights in there at all. The opposite of black lights.
Right. So this company.
If you took one of those to one of those fucking rub and tugs?
No.
Just a black light there?
No, I mean, yes, I can imagine. I don't want to. So there's this company in Florida. These cats call me up on the phone. And, because I do the biohacking, I write and freelance and stuff about this stuff. So people want me to try shit out. So they wanted me to come down to Florida and try out this dick shocking thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I look into it, and technically what it is it's high-frequency acoustic sound waves. And there's these machines over in Germany, I guess, that I've since then tried to buy. But I know one guy. I hunted down a guy now that actually bought one. Uh-huh. He's a triple board certified physician, one of the smartest guys I know on the planet. And this dude owns one in his house. Yeah, his name's Zach Bush.
Well, I was talking to all the people who work there, and they just hook themselves up all the time.
Oh yeah,
like after hours, they're in there. Sound wave in there.
I want one, and I mean, you could put your dick between a set of speakers, but there's something about this device. It's the frequency of the device.
Right.
So this doctor in Florida, Dr. Richard Gaines, Dr. Dick
Gaines.
Freaking Gaines is his name. Dick Gaines, perfect name.
You want Gaines for your dick, bro? Pay attention.
He patented this whole process of having this high frequency sound producing device in the clinics, like this little wand. You've seen it, and you walk in. So I walk in there. And, I'm like, hey, I'm Ben. I'm here to do the dick shocking thing, the Gaines wave procedure. So Dr. Gaines sits me down. He has a chat with me. He's like, how's your libido and what can we fix? I'm like, I'm fine, doc. But I want to see what this thing is like.
And Dick Gaines is about 60, but his testosterone's higher than any fighter you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, that cat's got the square jaw
and
testosterone
at 3,000.
You can tell the area, the flesh
wobbling.
Above the eyebrows really thick. You're
the bone density of his forehead from the growth hormone is thick.
That dude's
strong.
He's on gear for no.
But a nice guy. He's
cool.
He's a good
cool dude. Cool dude. I'm sure he's horny as hell.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you walk in, there's like hot nurse. I don't know how it was when you were there, but there's like this hot Cuban nurse.
You tell your experience. I'll tell mine.
So I walk in and so after I met with him, I walk out and this guy, and she actually was. She was fine. Like this nurse, she hands me the bottle of like dick numbing cream that I got to put on.
And first of all, this thing wasn't originally developed for dicks. I think it was developed to break up like kidney stones.
And then there was a research
acoustic waves
study.
kind of pulse through in a certain pulse, and it breaks up kidney stones and then allows them to dissolve.
Right. So if you have stones in your dick, there's a bonus.
Right. But then maybe it was even discovered on accident. They were trying to get these stones, and then all of a sudden people were like, hey, by the way, you got those stones.
Similar concept to ultrasound. Right.
Right.
I mean, kind of, it's acoustic waves. Ultrasound in this case, breaking up scar tissue.
Sure.
Anyways, though, so the other thing that I found out last year, just like a little rabbit hole, is you get an increase in brain-derived neurotrophic factor when you do like the high frequency sound waves. So there's actually like a making you smarter kind of effect. So now two things you can use in your dick that will also make you smarter.
Thinking with your dick.
Yes,
double.
This is adding
whammy.
up.
Yeah.
So she hands me the numbing cream, and she's like, "Put this on everywhere." So I just put it I put it on my asshole, I put it on my balls, I put it on my dick, because I don't know what they're gonna do in there, and I want to go in like full shields activated. So I go in, and she takes out this wand, and she has me like pull my pants down, lay on the table, spread my legs. I'm on the medical examination table. She puts like a little drape up, and then just take this thing. She takes the thing out, and it's like, like the whole room is full of this sound, like foam earplug, loud sound, like acoustic waves. And she works on it for like about 20 minutes.
Yeah, up and down, and they're little pulses, like little pulses they kind of sting until the numbing cream comes in. Because mine, they did well, you can continue, but you put your numbing cream on first and then waited, right?
Yeah.
No, not for me.
Oh,
so
really?
I go in. So this is Ben's lovely experience, the hot Cuban.
Cuban
no,
I put it on first.
They put it on first. He got nice and
had a martini.
No, I got a very cool, very friendly, but a shorter Latino dude who basically has me drop my pants and puts a little piece of gauze around the tip of my dick. has gloves on.
Oh no!
Puts a little piece of gauze, pulls it straight, and just squirts a mad amount of numbing cream on my dick, and then immediately gets the wand and starts moving the numbing cream around my shaft with the wand and starts zapping. Well, the numbing cream hadn't worked yet, so it's like I felt like my dick was getting tattooed at that point. It was like pow, pow. I was like, damn. But I could tell that the numbing cream was starting to work, and so I was like, I can tough it out. I've gotten tattoos before. I can fucking figure it out. But it was not this wildly pleasant experience.
Yeah, I called them first, dude. I punked you.
So he's just going up and down, just stretching and shocking the whole length.
No.
All the little tubes and everything. And we're just like making small talk and just talking about different stuff. He's talking about how he was, done the procedure a bunch of times himself and going through. He was good. He was like a total pro at what he was doing, but it was a little bit strange to have him.
No, she was full on. She's talking to me about clubbing in Miami.
So she was working on Whitney. So
yeah.
In all things considered, probably the best case, better scenario that he works with me and she works with Whitney rather than him wanding Whitney. Because for the girls, they go not only around the lips and the clitoris, they go in.
Really?
They put a condom on the wand and they go all the way.
I didn't know how the girls have it done because I didn't have that done.
They go
with
all
the
way
wand
in,
and
like
the condom.
At least 2 inches of the phallic shaped shock wand inside.
See, that's pretty cool. And the other thing to do, and I'm going to go back there. I'm planning on next month because they'll do a stem cell, or not a stem cell, platelet-rich plasma. Yeah. Well, take your own blood out, and they spin it in a centrifuge. They concentrate the growth factors, and then they inject that back into your dick.
That's why you're the cock warlock.
That's why I'll be the cock warlock when that happens. And they do the same thing. It's called a priapasm shot.
Yeah.
Which I think is funny because, like, if you look up Viagra and, like, that whole deal where you wind up in the hospital if you've had an erection.
If it lasts longer,
I think that's called a priapasm. I think.
It's from the god Priapus.
Yeah.
Who was always shown as the god of fertility. He always has a massive dick. Like if you ever go to Pompeii in Italy, you'll see lots of statues and images of the god Priapus.
Right. Or the giant penis cave in my favorite place in the world, Railay Bay in Thailand. If you ever go there, they have the giant penis cave. It's just like a whole it's like a whole like I don't know.
Is that necessary? Is that
like a
part
sacred
of the
location
where the cock warlock? He goes to the penis cave.
Yes.
He mixes potions.
You go on your quest to the penis cave. Exactly.
He demolishes one wall with his dick at the end. Like that's the ultimate thing,
No, I just ate pad thai and looked at the penises, but that sounds like a good idea. So anyway, so I get this whole like my dick is numb, and she just like blasts on it for like 20 minutes, and I walk out of there, and I just don't. I look, I go in the bathroom afterwards, and I pull down my pants. I look at my dick. You probably saw it's like red, looks a little swollen.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like you stuck it in something you shouldn't have stuck it into, and it's just like it's just doesn't look right.
Right.
But I walk out and I hop in an Uber because I actually had dinner with my grandma at this Cuban restaurant close to there that night, and this numbing cream starts to wear off during dinner with my grandma, and I started to get my first post Gaineswave boner there at dinner. Like all the blood just started to return and stuff like started to throb down there. So it actually happened to me while I was like eating fried plantains with grandma at the Cuban restaurant. And that night,
that's a really nice boner you have.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking about like your diabetic medication, and I'm excusing myself to the bathroom, but
is that going to fuck up your head when you're trying not to come and you have to think about things that aren't attractive, and then you're thinking about
grandma, but now grandma is associated with a raging boner.
And you just
I don't
screwed
know.
yourself.
I haven't thought about grandma since then while I've been having sex. So yeah, and then it lasts for like 1 or 2 months, and then you're supposed. It's a great business model for them because then you're supposed to go back for more.
Yeah. But it's supposed to be there's some lasting, blood vessel development and
right,
some vascularity.
Right, exactly. If you had like full-on ED from living a shitty lifestyle and, because that's what they say about ED, right? It's a canary in the coal mine. Before a heart attack, you lose your erection first because that's a sign of low blood flow, poor cardiovascular health, and then you have your heart attack.
Yeah. So it was we went with Whitney, and it's really odd to have your whole genitals completely numb too. And it took me a long time. I'm like that with the dentist too. It took me a long time for me to wear that off. Finally, it wears off, and we're pretty like rowdy, ready to go. So I go down on her, and then pretty soon I realize like, oh no, my mouth is numb because there was still
because she had it all
the way inside her from using the wand inside her. So we were like,
dude.
oh God. So it was a bit of a disaster trying to consummate this first experience with my mouth completely numb and then not knowing if we should have sex. I could fight
it's just
through
like
the
having
numbness.
sex after you've been to the dentist.
She was like still numb, and it was like, fuck, we got to wait another day. But I have to say that there's, it's not something that I would do and like endorse the same way that I would the Juve Light, but the effects are noticeable. And actually, like, it's seeming to affect like size, like vascular,
right?
The same
and
way
that's what they say.
Take like an NO supplement would affect, the size and appearance of your muscles. It felt like the same thing. Like this, particularly on the girth side of things.
It's similar. Did you ever use the private gym?
The private gym.
I tell you about this.
No.
Well, like the towel exercise, right? You basically just like get a boner with like a small dry towel, and you work your way up. You get the towel wet, and like you just get better and better at lifting a towel with an erection. The idea behind this is it's like this little like dick shaped or dick like it's a magnet that wraps around your dick with a couple of 1 ounce weights, 2 ounce weights, and it's like resistance training, and you gradually get better and better at lifting the weights as you go. It's called the private
people
gym.
Who like have competitions with that in like Asia or something where they like lift weights.
Really?
Dick. Yeah, you can look it up.
It's like Finland where you have like the sauna competition where so you can stay in the sauna the longest till somebody dies. Yeah. It's like people dying in Asia from dicks falling off. Yeah. Yeah. Oh! Sorry, all the Alzheimer's and Asian listeners. We're getting pretty offensive on this one. So yeah. That's Gaineswave, but honestly, like what I would like to do is like hunt down a way to just like do it at your house, because then you just like do it every month and not. I mean, I'm sure that they hate to hear me talking about that, but like I would rather just like have one right at my house.
Yeah, I mean, once you understand the fundamentals of how to use it, I mean, it wouldn't. Someone like yourself, after going through it, you kind of get the idea.
Right, and it's cool for birthday parties. Yeah, my kids.
Hey, kids, you want a Gaineswave?
Want a massage?
Fun. Uncle Ben will give you the power machine.
No. Don't want that reputation. So yeah, there's Gaineswave. We talked about the Juve Light, the private gym. The nitric oxide thing is important because there's like this whole this idea, and maybe it's like 4 hour body, whatever, like that idea of like eat a big old freaking like ribeye, like a 16 ounce French cut ribeye and have a bunch of pine pollen and a whole bunch of fats to increase testosterone prior to sex. Well, the idea that's a chronic effect, right? Like doing like good healthy fats and conjugated linoleic acid and vitamin D, and like that works. But the last thing you want to do is send a bunch of blood to your stomach before you go have sex. And
actually, after any meal, testosterone declines.
Right, exactly. So. I mean, and even after workout, if you eat after workout, that slows down the increase in growth hormone and testosterone that occurs post-workout. I mean, Mark Siss and I talked about this on a podcast, how you should technically wait 2 or 3 hours after workout to stuff face because you see an increase in growth hormone and testosterone when you wait post-workout to feed. It's not great for size, but it works for the hormonal response.
Right.
Anyways,
then
though,
benefits size later.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have like, instead of like the steak with the pine pollen, you do like an arugula salad with like cubed watermelon,
pro-sex food,
pumpkin seeds, extra virgin olive oil. I mentioned the dark chocolate and the red wine. What else in addition to arugula? Beets or beetroot, anything like that. Just like a very light nitric oxide producer. I did a podcast or a show for this thing called the Men's Sexual Satisfaction Summit. And we just spent like a half hour going into like pre-sex meals and that idea of just like literally like a nice big old salad with pumpkin seeds and beetroot and watermelon and some dark chocolate and some red wine, extra virgin olive oil, same thing, polyphenols, and that can help out with nitric oxide. And that's the way to go. It's not like necessarily a sexy Valentine's Day dinner that you fantasize about your arugula salad.
No, but if you got that Tinder date that you know that you need to you need to let the competition
throw it all in a blender, put on your blue light blocking glasses, baby, suck it down.
Let the competition know that you mean business.
That's right.
And then say, listen, baby girl, I was trained by the cock Warlock himself.
You guys should do that with On It. You should have like a little like a shake, and it's just like arugula and beetroot and like olive oil, and it's kind of like the fatty coffee concept, except it's like just fatty, like you just call it fatty. Yeah. And you mix that up. Yeah, just like fatty. Yeah, that makes sense. You know, we can make that leap. Yeah, screw the whole like fat in your coffee thing.
Not bad. Yeah, but that's the and then so all right, so testosterone in general, sleeping, working out, lifting hard, some of these hacks like the Juve light?
Yeah, I mean, like honestly, like your audience is relatively intelligent. I'm sure they're up to date on like sleeping and lifting heavy. But then you can take that to the next level, right? Like lifting heavy. Well, technically, it's not lifting heavy that increases testosterone. It's lifting heavy with your legs using things that actually activate the sympathetic nervous system. So if you were to like hook up a heart rate variability monitor and see what kind of lifts actually, you would see a decrease in your heart rate variability. That's what you're looking for, to look for maximum nervous system activation. So like I did that ARX fit today at the Paleo Fit, where you're just like full on leg press as hard as you can go, maximum neuromuscular activation, huge amount of nervous system like beat uppedness. But the idea is that that's the type of thing that testosterone responds well to, like heavy barbell back squats, right? Yep. So not just lifting heavy, but lifting heavy for the lower body using something that technically puts you in, you know, even compare like the deadlift to the back squat. The back squat, you're being attacked, right? You have a heavy weight on your back. You're being attacked by a lion. A deadlift, you're picking something off the ground. So you actually see a bigger drop in heart rate variability in response to the back squat. Or you look at high intensity interval training. What actually works is sprinting, like very, very short, 10 to 30 second sprints that are more in like your phosphogenic. Yeah, exactly. Not even like your glycolytic 2 minutes plus range, but very, very short sprints. Yep. Lifting heavy with the legs. Like those are the kind of things that increase testosterone if you're looking at like a gym protocol.
Yeah. And that's that works the same for women as it works for men. I mean, testosterone is the sex hormone for both. Men produce more of it, but women who are lacking in enough adequate amount of testosterone, which is going to be a much lower level for them.
Now, if you're a woman and you have a mustache,
and a muscle clit.
Let's talk. Actually, like if you're, if you have estrogen dominant signs and you're trying to do these things that increase testosterone, you need to be using like diindolylmethane and
things to control
some of these things that actually. Did I say diindolylmethane? Is it diindolylmethane? It's DIM.
DIM.
I forget if it's methane or not.
Or something like that.
It's diindol. I'm blanking now. Anyways, like DIM, liver cleanses, magnesium, things that will help your body to process some of the over-aromatization that could occur if you have high testosterone, but you're also getting like excess fat, like the hair above the lip.
Because sometimes the precursors for testosterone are also the precursors for estrogen.
Same thing in men.
Towards that. And again, precursors also on dietarily, cholesterol, dietary cholesterol. Like cholesterol is the substrate for all this.
Yeah.
It has, obviously, I've talked about this before a million times, don't need to go over it, but eat the fucking egg yolks.
Yep.
Like that's a ridiculous thing. Like we need dietary cholesterol. It doesn't translate metabolically.
Egg yolks, a serving of organ meat once a week. I mean, freaking like even if you don't want to prepare organ meats, go hunt down like some Braunschweiger or liverwurst. There's companies like U.S. Wellness Meats, right? Like they just like my kids take it to school, right? They take these big old sausages to school, or like you can slice them up and put them in a little lunchbox, or you can like fry them up with extra virgin olive oil or whatever. But like any way you can use to get organ meats into your body, in addition to things like egg yolks, that's really helpful. The other thing from just like a nutrient standpoint, like if you were to ask me right now to create like a testosterone supplement, because there's all this stuff out there or a libido supplement, whatever, epimedium and horny goat weed and what else, tribulus and I think Bacopa, Bolbine is another one that you see quite often. But I mean, most guys don't have the bases covered for testosterone. Zinc, right? Super simple. Use zinc or eat oysters. Creatine, right? Yeah. 5 milligrams a day. We talked about creatine on the last podcast that we did for a while. Yep. Zinc, creatine, magnesium, eat a lot of healthy fats, right? Like those are the basics.
Cover the basics. Sleep
and
well,
then if I were to do a supplement, I'd probably put vitamin D, vitamin K in there.
Yeah.
Right. So I do vitamin D, vitamin K, zinc, creatine, magnesium. If you want to throw the herbs and stuff in there, great. But if I were to just want it like a testosterone supplement, I'd have that stuff in there.
Yeah, those are the big logs, and then the herbs are the kindling on top of the fire.
Right.
And you have to take a tear of the big logs first, otherwise that is not going to do as much.
Yep.
I think that's a good way to look at it.
Exactly.
And then you're set up. You're set up to really. And then from there, obviously, there's a lot more to know about sex, but at least the physical apparatus is available.
Yeah,
for
big log bite. That's this thing. So you're gonna make this salad in your food lab here at Audit, and you're gonna make it like the little Christmas log in the South Park episode, right? And it's just like this log that you get a bunch of arugula and beets and stuff all mashed together. And it's called the big log, and you get it, you unwrap it, you just like eat it before sex.
Like hot dog of salads.
It's like a hot dog of salads. Exactly.
Oh my God, Ben, you're a fucking genius.
I'm a genius.
Maybe you can just make a whole pro sex restaurant.
If I ever launched a food company, we would be out of business and record. It would just be a whole bunch of functional shit that tastes horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might work though. People might go just for the fucking
It
novelty
could.
of it.
It could. The big log coming soon.
Beautiful, man. Well, Ben, it's been fucking super fun to go on these trips with you and learn all this shit from you. We've been working on a book together. My first book that I'm coming out with wouldn't have been the same without your help pointing me to these different things, different tricks. So
I mean, to be honest though, I mean, like when you showed me the idea for your book, you know, long before I even knew that you were writing one, I saw it and I knew like it was like a hell yes for me because like the whole concept. I mean, you guys listening, I'm sure you'll see it soon, but just the whole concept behind it is. Like it's spot on. Like I've done little blog posts on my daily habits, but I'm like, you know, when I've written those in the past, I'm like, dude, this should be a book. Like and then you come to me and sure enough, so yeah, it's gonna be a sick book.
It's gonna be dope. It's gonna have all this information in it. We have a whole chapter on sex and all of these different tools and stuff, but won't be out till early 2018.
Sex, hedonism, detoxing, everything.
All the good stuff. All
the
good
baby.
stuff. Good shit, my brother. Anything you want to let people know about? This will come out in about 3 weeks from now, so.
No, just make sure you put the numbing cream on within 20 minutes beforehand. Turn down the short little Latin dude and make sure you do it right. Yeah.
If you're listening to my little short Latin friend, you're awesome.
Yeah,
you know,
and if you guys, wherever this podcast winds up, if you leave comments, I'm happy to hop in and answer any questions that you have. If you have questions or concerns or comments, or you'd like to file a lawsuit, if you are Alzheimer's patient or have a loved one who is, or you're Asian, I'm sorry. My apologies.
Ben, you're the man. I appreciate you as always, my brother. And thank you, everybody. Much love. Peace.